Merry Christmas Eve, everybody. We had quite a night last night, didn't we? Partied damn near till sunrise, watching perverted Supergirl fan films and yelling over each other, doing funny voices and sounds and laughing. Tonight it's going to be a chill night. We're going to have story time around the campfire. I've been ranting and raving about this movie for the past week or two. I figured I should talk about it. I mean, I started doing these Stupenzocasts because I was trying to do occasional Tales from the Dork Side episodes as retrospective film breakdowns, kind of similar to what MMM does, and the Bastard breakdowns on Northern English Bastards channel. And I figured, hey, maybe once in a while I'll do one on my channel and do like we did with Nail and I and a couple others, The Matrix. And then I realized, you know what? I could just do my own special Stupenzocast show and talk about specific strange topics. And I haven't done a movie breakdown in a while. This is one of those movies that I keep talking about. It's my second favorite Christmas movie of all time, even though it isn't technically a Christmas movie. I think it is. And yeah, Boosh McFadden is here. I got to check out the Supergirl Super Stream. Yeah, it was tight. And Boosh is, I've been wondering where Boosh has been. Apparently he's not doing too well. He's kind of under the weather. I hope you feel better, buddy. Maybe I'll go visit you or something this holiday season. Lord Toxic, you're live again. Where was this energy during Die Hard? I was doing prep for this stream during Die Hard. I was on Lance's channel too. I was taking all these screenshots and doing homework and research. Boo says he may zonk out during. I mean, honestly, this would be a good one to zonk out to. I'm just going to be chilling. I don't think I'm going to be raising my voice. I don't think we're going to be yelling. Nobody's going to be talking over each other. It's just going to be me reciting a story. That's the thing. I was talking about this the other day with Sammy. Like, if you could take a song and strip it down just to the basic piano chords, like have someone play it on piano and sing it, no band, no production value, no instruments, no solos. Like, if you can just take the basic root chords of the song and sing the lyrics, and it's still a good song, you got yourselves a hit. This movie, the same can be true with movies. If I can just recite the basic plot points of a movie and it still sounds like a good story, then maybe you got something there. This is one of those movies that I recommend to people, and a lot of people don't want to watch it because it's 3 hours long. It's Japanese. It's black and white. It's slow. It's really slow. And it takes its time. It feels like a movie from the 40s. It's actually made in the 60s. And it's Akira Kurisawa's last black and white movie. It is compared a lot to Ikiru. I don't know how you say that. It is, it looks at problems like social injustice, talks about humanism, existentialism. It's a story about compassion and how contagious that could be. It's about caring for your fellow man. It's about patience. It's about giving to others, sacrificing things for yourself, and donating them to the less fortunate. You know, all these Christmas themes that we like to talk about. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't want this to be a 3-hour stream. I like to, usually when I talk about a movie, I want to do a huge, extensive breakdown. I want to talk about the movie twice the length of the film's runtime. You know, if a movie's an hour and a half, I want to talk about it for at least 3 hours. But this time, I think I'm going to try to talk about this movie about half the length of the movie. I did take a lot of screenshots, though. Maybe we'll get another copyright block. Let's see here. Maybe I can actually do something real quick. If I go to present, share screen, I won't share audio either to avoid any kind of echoes or delays or anything like that. Let me see if I can change something here. Edit. Let's take this and let's shrink this a tad. Maybe that'll help with the copyright stuff. We'll see like that. Let's see if this works. Is this centered? There we go. Centered. Save. Update layout. There we go. Okay. There we go. And John Richards is here. Hail all. Yeah. Sit back and enjoy the story of Akira Kurosawa's Redbeard. I'm going to quickly go through it and explain why it's such a good Christmas movie. I don't think I will need to explain why it's a Christmas movie. I think you'll get the point. But yeah, here we go. Toho. Like I said, this movie, it feels like a 40s movie. It looks and sounds like one. Akira Kurosawa was very old fashioned, I guess. And like I said, this is his last black and white movie. It was a major box office success in Japan, but it's known for causing a rift between the main actor and Kurosawa as their final collaboration after them working together on 16 films together. It's screened in competition at the 26th Venice International Film Festival. And yeah, it's won a bunch of awards. Got nominated for the best foreign language Golden Globe. It's in my opinion Akira Kurosawa's most underrated movie because everyone talks about Seven Samurai, everyone talks about Ran, everyone talks about Rashomon, everyone talks about the big ones, and this one always gets overlooked, even though it's really good. And it's one of these movies that'll grow on you. I said before on these streams, this movie, it's like as good as it gets. It makes you want to be a better man. It's a movie that might change your life, kind of like Paris, Texas, or a few others. You watch it, you're like, damn, that did something to me. This is more than just a movie. This is like a story that affects people. I don't know. Some things that are contagious are good. There's contagious laughter. Contagious compassion is what this is kind of about. It's a movie about doctors in feudal Japan. Yeah. Quick summary. I mean, it's about a young brazen doctor in training who's got high hopes, and he gets thrown an unexpected curveball and learns that it kind of was for the best. So without further ado, I mean, let's just dive into it. Redbeard. If you heard the music on this soundtrack, you'd be, wow, this is very old fashioned. Like I said, 1965 feels very dated. But yeah, directed by Akira Kurosawa, and some really good long shots in this movie. A lot of shots. This movie takes its sweet ass time. And another reason why this movie is a Christmas movie, in my opinion, is it takes place over the course of a few months during the winter season of some year in feudal Japan. I don't know. I don't even know. What year is this take place in? That's actually a good question. Takes place in doesn't say. Sometime is it the 1800s, the 1600s? I don't even know. It's actually a good question. Anyway, we've got a young and arrogant doctor named Noboru Yasumoto. He's trained in Dutch medicine in Nagasaki, and he shows up to the Koshikawa Clinic. This is him. The first thing we see, a man walking up to a clinic and kind of checking in. And you've got this other guy who's basically like, hey, I'm going to show you what's around here. My name's Genzo. You're basically going to be taking my spot. Turns out that Genzo, I guess, is like a failed product. Yeah, 1600s is what I'm thinking. Lurker mode, engaged. Yeah, enjoy. This is, like I said, this is going to be a chill stream. Short little chill stream. But yeah, Genzo's been waiting for, what's his name? Yoshimoto. He shows up. Basically, I'm going to give you the tour, the rundown of the place. With you here, Genzo can leave. So basically, he tells him, I'm just supposed to be here for like a call. He's like, no, you're here to visit. You're here to on assignment. And you can tell that Yoshimoto is very distraught about this. I'm supposed to go. I've been training medicine in Nagasaki for 3 years, and I'm supposed to go to the shogunate. But yeah, he tells him it's terrible here. You'll have to stay and see for yourself, basically. Now, unfortunately, like doctors, like back then in feudal Japan, they were like under orders. They couldn't just like go where they wanted, seek greener pastures. Like they were assigned places. So, as Genzo tells him, the patients are slum people full of fleas and lice. It's a terrible place. They smell bad. They're poor farmers. They don't have much money. Therefore, these doctors don't get paid a lot. And Redbeard, he's after us all night and day. And Redbeard is the head doctor. His beard is sort of reddish. That's why they call him that. Even though this is a black and white movie, you just got to take their word for it. But yeah, it's interesting. Get the tour of the place. It's very terrible. It smells like rotten fruit. He tells them. There's patients. They're poor and they get free treatments in the afternoons. So the place is usually pretty packed with sick people, and they're not doing great. And it's just very depressing. All of them would be better off dead, says Genzo. Genzo is very cynical, and he's kind of an asshole, which I think is why he's being reassigned. I think Redbeard, when we find out later, is Redbeard had no use for Genzo because Genzo was, he wasn't going to fit in here. This is one of those places where it's kind of like being like a line cook at a very punishing restaurant. Some people try that for a short while. And they're like, fuck this. This ain't for me. And, they got to get rid of them. It's a high turnaround rate. If someone's into it and they're willing to do the work, then yeah, they're going to do well and they're going to stick around. They feel compelled to. I've always talked about how line cooks are kind of masochistic, love torturing themselves. But yeah, here's the clinic. There's the pharmacy. There's the women's wards. You got the women over here. You got the men over here in another wing. They don't even have beds, basically. Tatamis, I think they're what they're called. But yeah, basically you got one of these old patients talking about how our clothes are all crappy and you wouldn't want to die in a gown like this. The women, they feel sorry for the women. They should have more colorful war robes. They should wear something brighter. It'd be sad to die in a hospital gown like this. Most people die in hospital gowns, FYI, or butt naked, or in pajamas. But yeah, one of the patients who's very sick says, "Hey, these robes are great because they show dirt. They're easy to wash. You can see we stay clean. You can see that we're clean in these white robes." And he's talking to the guy who's complaining, "You smelled bad when you came here. Now you don't smell so bad, because they've been taking care of you." He starts coughing. The old man's like, "You got to stop. You shouldn't talk. Redbeard told you shouldn't talk." Yeah, Boosh is in a hospital gown right now. Yeah, you're going to be fine, though. Let your butt breathe. Redbeard told this guy not to talk. He's going to start coughing up blood again. But yeah, this guy complained and says, "We're better off dead. We're too poor to even buy medicine, and I can't even die on a bed like a man. The poorest people in the world have tatami." Is tatami a bed? I didn't even look it up. I just kind of assumed it's a bed. I don't care. But yeah, this little guy, he says, "Hey, the tatamis are bad because they capture dirt and moisture. These wooden planks we sleep on are better. That's why." It's like, dude, shut up. Stop talking or you're going to die. Boosh says, "So many people have seen my butt in the last 10 days. Yeah. Nice. Your big hairy ass." So yeah, this guy's kind of like, what's going on here? Are these things the rules here? Yeah, Redbeard, he rules the place. He's basically a dictator. He runs the place like a damn like a war camp. He's a good doctor, dedicated to his work, but he's kind of strict. The rich people in the daimyo, they trust him. But he's stubborn, inconsiderate, radical, and proud. And he holds his nose up, something. I don't know what that means. But there's your quarters. The doctors have the cold side of the hospital. The south gets the sun, so that's for the patients. We sleep in the cold, damp, dreary north side. And yeah, all of our hospital gowns are crappy. The patients get room service. There's a kitchen. We eat here in the dining room. We're not allowed to eat in our own rooms. These are all Redbeard's rules. You got to follow them. It's like militant. We're to have no heat except in the wards. And Redbeard thinks it's good for you. It's good for the cold. Keeps our immune system strong. But yeah, there's not a lot of money to buy coal except for the wards. So there you go. During the winter, it's cold and brutal. Boosh, Adam Gray's here. Hey, buddy. Adam Gray's seen this movie, right? I think he has. I think we've talked about Redbeard. But yeah, Redbeard has a special captain's room, basically. We're going to meet him. Here's the guy. I brought Dr. Yusamoto. And yeah, what a great character entrance here. He's just sitting down all stoic, and he turns around, and he just like eyeball fucks him for like, there's a lot of shots that linger in this movie. And this is one of them. I mean, like I said, this movie is 3 hours long. I think you could cut it down to 2 hours just by trimming some slower segments, tightening it up. Boosh is he's not great, but he's here, so that's good. I'm hoping Bush gets better soon. Yeah, and Redbeard basically glaring this guy down, and he says, "My name's hard to pronounce. My real name, it's Kyojo Needy. Needy. I don't know why that's hard to pronounce. Maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. Kyojo. But yeah, his name's Redbeard. How do you say Redbeard in Japanese? It is Akahiji. There you go. So yeah, he's gonna start as an intern. He's being told. You're going to be here now interning. He's like, what the? I was supposed to be, my father sent me to go to deal with I'm supposed to be like private physician of the shogunate. And, my dad said, I'm only supposed to call you. He says, nope, you're supposed to bring me all your notes and drawings from Nagasaki, your medical training. And he's like, well, they're at my home, so I guess I'll have to leave and come back. He's like, nope, they're going to be, your things are on their way. They'll be here soon. They're being delivered. So basically, like, yeah, his dad, and this doctor kind of went behind his back and reassigned him without his knowledge. And he's kind of like thinking he's getting a bum deal here. Like, this isn't fair. So yeah, that's all. Go to your room. He's just shocked. He's like shell shocked right now. He has no idea what's happening. This guy is Handuyu Mori. He's one of the other doctors. He says it's pretty difficult here. You can learn a lot if you want. Now, Genzo, he's very stubborn and uncompassionate. I don't remember which one it is, but yeah, he's not very nice. That's just why he's not a fit here. He's leaving. So yeah, we're gonna work together. And he says, Yasumoto's like, nope, this is bullshit. I studied to serve the shogunate. I'm supposed to be the shogun's doctor. I'm gonna rebel. I'm gonna my father's a doctor. Dr. Armano's his friend. I should be here. He's like, he's the shogun's personal doctor, and even with that recommendation, you still ended up here. That's just crazy. There's something going on here. Oh well, he doesn't care. Genzo's happy because he's gonna leave now. He can leave. It's great. So we knew you were coming 2 weeks ago, they told him. He has no idea. This is like a total surprise to him. He's pissed off, very pissed off. So he's unfriendly to people he likes, they say, Redbeard. So that's how you know he likes him. Not me. He never finds any fault with me. That Genzo, yeah, he's just polite to Genzo. He doesn't interact with him. He acts like he's not there. Ignores me completely. Because like I said, Redbeard has no use for this guy. Jamalama's here. What's up, boy? Happy holidays. Christmas Eve. Glad you guys are here. Just quickly running through this movie. Because I figured I recommend it to everybody. Nobody watches it. So maybe you'll hear me tell you the story about Dr. Yasumoto and his time with Redbeard. His winter with Redbeard. So yeah, he's saying, I'm not going to do what he says. This is some sort of trick. I'm leaving. I'm going to rebel. I'm not going to listen to him. And he's like, dude, you're under the jurisdiction of the magistrate. You're supposed to do what you're told. You can't hide or run away. But he's like, thanks to you, says Genzo, I can leave. So I'll take you to your room. We share it. We'll share it until I leave. And basically, he says, hey, Redbeard's a genius, but we don't get along well. Anyway, this is our room. And hey, all of his stuff's here already. And he fucking runs away. He like literally starts running away. And as he does, some woman comes up to Genzo and says, hey, she's worse again, and I'm out of medicine. He says, only Redbeard does that. He's in his room. Go get Redbeard. Meanwhile, Dr. Yasumoto, you got to get back here. They're going to the herb garden. And this is where they stumble upon a woman who's like in a prison cell. She's like, what the hell's this woman doing? He says, no one's allowed in there. She's a special patient. Only Redbeard is allowed in there. Usugi is her name. She's different. And this is one of the nurses. The girl's father built this wing himself just for her. She's a special patient. The whole house is a prison. Usugi has the key and no one gets in. That's the nurse. And the girl isn't let out either. She's basically a prisoner. She's called the Mantis. It's a good nickname because female eats the male after they mate, and she'd do the same thing. No one knows who she is, but it seems she's the daughter of a merchant, and she's killed 3 clerks there. She'd seduce them first, and then she'd get them when they'd get excited over her. But what's crazy is this movie, like I said, Eastern story um, arcs. This doesn't have the classic rising action climax falling action. This movie has the Eastern story arc where, it's a bunch of little vignettes. It's a main character who goes on a journey and meets a bunch of other little characters, and each little character interaction is its own little story. And then we kind of wrap up the story at the end with reflection and learn what we knew. Babs is here. Hello, Babs. Merry New Year, indeed. We got some people pulling in. All right. So, yeah, in case you missed it, this doctor has been reassigned to a poverty-stricken hospital when he's supposed to be the personal doctor of the Shogun. He's very pissed. He's being shown a crazy woman who's locked away and a bunch of poor people bedding up in a bunch of cold wings of this drab, dank hospital. This guy is like shocked, it's a real pity. She's very beautiful, this woman. So yeah, time to eat our gruel, our rice. And of course, Redbeard notices that Yasumoto's not eating. He's like, dude, why don't you eat? You got to eat. Are you not hungry, or the food doesn't suit you? He's like, this place doesn't suit me. He says, Redbeard says, even bad food tastes good if we chew it well. I don't agree with that, Redbeard, but I think I see what you're trying to say metaphorically. But yeah, a lot of great experimental lighting and some fun camera stuff that goes on in this movie. It's kind of it's like a little like minor version of Citizen Kane, some influence from there. Like I said, you'd feel like this movie came out around the same time as Citizen Kane, but it actually came out like 10 something years after. So yeah, it's very rustic. This is also one of those great movies that's like, it's cold outside and you want to feel cozy. Like the movie has this like cabin in the woods kind of vibe. So yeah, your things are here. Why don't you bring me your notes? And he says, no. And he says, I studied Dutch medicine, developing my own diagnosis and cures. And basically he thinks Redbeard's going to steal his ideas. Redbeard says medical knowledge belongs to everyone. Doctors get rich just by curing cataracts, he says. Redbeard is like, we don't gossip here. Just bring me your notes and change into your uniform. He's like, I'm not changing into my uniform. He tells these nurses, go get me sake. They're like, dude, you're not allowed to drink here, dude. He's like, I don't give a shit. I'm going to break every rule possible until I get thrown out of here. All right. I'm not going to wear a uniform. I'm going to be such a nuisance that he's going to make me leave. Go get me booze. And then he runs off. Then we've got this nurse telling him that he's a nuisance. You can't go in the room. Basically, she's onto him. You think Dr. Needy's going to get so mad he'll dismiss you? Well, no. That's not how he works. You can't fool him by acting like a child, he says. And what's the reason you came here? Yeah, he's interested in this mantis woman. And she's like, yeah, I don't recommend that at all. But she does specialize in medicine, this nurse. I know more about curing than Redbeard. Why not help the other patients then? Any doctor can help them. But I'm here to specifically help this mantis woman. So yeah. Yeah. Dr. Needy, Redbeard, he's the only one that's allowed in there besides her. So anyway, they're having like a little flirtatious kind of encounter. But yeah, it's hard to believe women. It's hard to believe men. Basically, Yasumoto, he's had an issue where he kind of has like a jilted relationship with his love. Barbara Lawrence says, I quietly survived a trip to Target and Costco, but it was touch and go for a minute. Hey, you did all right. I almost went to the store right now before the stream started, but I realized I don't have to. I can go after Christmas. I can go next month. Next Monday, maybe. I'm supposed to go out of town next week for New Year's Eve. I'm supposed to go see Kill Tony at the HEB Center in Leander, Austin, Texas. And who knows? Maybe I'll put my name in a bucket and get called up on stage and embarrass myself in front of millions of people. We'll see. Otherwise, I'll just get drunk and ring in the new year in Austin. But got a lot to do before I leave. Surprise, I don't think my Renfield video is coming out in tangent with Nosferatu or Bram Stoker's Dracula we watch. Maybe it will. I'm going back and forth. Like, should I just do like a tight 10-minute kind of critical drinker style video? Or should I do like a long, like hour-long Mahler video that's like riddled with tism, and I'm leaning more towards the short video. But I don't know. There's just so much to talk about with Renfield. It's hard to just narrow it down. Also, I don't know. Maybe I'll just release it on a second channel. It's been such a long wait for it. Also, I am officially eligible for monetization. I officially got the watch hours the other day. I'll probably apply some point and get denied for reuse content. Maybe I won't get denied, and that'll infuriate Adam. Who knows? I don't care. It's just like a big stepping stone. It feels like some of our fellow YouTubers don't respect you or appreciate you unless you're like got that seal of monetization. And Sammy Threepeat's back. Hell yeah. Don't get your hopes up, buddy. We're not watching more Supergirl fan films. I wouldn't do that without you. But that being said, we watched Supergirl fan films made by perverts for 7 hours last night, and we only watched like 9 of them. No, 7 of them. It was about an hour long, averaging each. There's 25 more to go. So horrific. We'll have to do a part 2 and probably a part 3 of the Supergirl marathons, but we will watch them all eventually. I promise. We did get back to the normal pool. So yeah, we're gonna start calling them pool parties. Pool party at Stupenzo's, and that'll be a Supergirl marathon. It may not necessarily be on Sundays for Tales from the Dork Side. It might become its own little, special stream. It was some wild shit, wasn't it? We had a good time. Tony Stark showed up, man, with his voice boxes and impressions and sound effects, and that boy, man, that guy's an entertainer, I tell you. So anyway, continuing with the story. Shigusa, someone's here to see him, basically. And meanwhile, they go see this old guy who's, he buys eggs and fish for the patients. Like, he gives away his own medicine and gruel. He's very sick. He's a bother. He's basically like constantly like looking out for other people, even though he's like practically dying. He's always doing his own. He's always like donating to other people. But yeah, this guy says these patients are too much, man. And like I said, in defiance, Yasumoto, he's just lounging around. He won't put on his hospital gowns. He's just gonna sulk like a baby. And these other doctors are like, yo, man, if you're going to just sit here and waste our time, you should just make the best of it. Here at the clinic, there are good, dedicated doctors. And he's basically saying, Genzo, he's no good. That's why he expects a lot out of you. He's going to basically said, he called me. Yeah, he thinks that Redbeard just basically called him here to steal his notes and his drawings. And he's like, no. He's ignored me after getting them. Once I gave him his notes, he hasn't talked to me at all. So that's all he wanted. I do nothing and he doesn't say anything. He's not even mad about it. But all of a sudden, a nurse shows up. We need a doctor. The mantis woman ran away. I left the key in the lock and I was in the kitchen and she's gone. And Yasumoto's like, huh, that's interesting. He's just getting drunk on sake. He doesn't care. And then who walks into his room but the mantis woman herself? And a very long, creepy scene of this one shot of them kind of eyeballing each other, and the camera kind of closes in on them. She's basically like, look, I need help. Like, I'm not crazy. And he says she kind of trusts him because he's not wearing the doctor's uniform. But she's like, these doctors don't listen to me. I killed those clerks, but there was a reason I killed those clerks. I'm not crazy. And then she basically starts explaining this huge history of abuse she's suffered because she's a beautiful woman. She basically said, many men have basically SA'd her and threatened her with violence if she ever tells anyone about it. This has happened on more than one occasion. First when she was 9, then she was 11, then again when she was a teenager. And she starts telling this doctor the stories, and then she freaks out. She's like, oh my God, I've told you the story. I'm going to get killed. And she starts having like a panic attack. And Yasumoto's like, bro, just chill out. Like, relax. It's okay. No, you're not going to be killed. No one's going to kill you. And she's like, please help me. She starts crying. She starts telling another story about how when she was 17 and another clerk did the same thing to her. And then she pulls out a big fucking knife and she starts like struggling with Yasumoto, saying like, I'm going to stab you in the fucking throat. Basically, this is kind of what these clerks did to her. I guess this is like her way of hitting on people. This is how she learned. This is what she learned romance is supposed to be, I think. But Yasumoto kind of, successfully tries to get her off and doesn't get stabbed in the neck. But dude, the look of craziness in her eyes is so intense. And she starts kissing him and, about to stab him in the neck when luckily, I don't think I got a picture of it, but Redbeard kind of kicks the door open and we kind of cut to black and we see that he has a bandaged neck and he's unconscious and Redbeard's sitting over him saying, hey, man, that was close. You almost got nicked. Luckily, she missed an artery, grazed your neck. So you're going to live. But stay away from that mantis woman. She's like, she's lit up into me too. I've been bit a bunch of times. She stabbed me a few times. She was born that way. But also, many other girls have had experiences that like her, and they don't go on kill crazy rampages. So there's something going on with her. Oh well, we'll never really know. But also, you're drunk, and men have a weakness for pretty girls. So don't be ashamed. This is a lesson. Around this hospital. He blows his nose. And basically, this is where he first gets his first direction. A couple days later, go to the North Ward 1. And Dr. Niiti, Redbeard, he wants you. He's like, okay. He's like, you got to wear your uniform. He's like, I don't care. Go to hell. And he tells him, hey, Redbeard, do me a favor and examine this guy. And this old dude is like, just basically like unconscious and dying. And he's like, yep, he's got a pretty bad history of cases. It's not stomach cancer. It's probably something with his liver. The cancer spreads, but the pain only comes through when it's too late. So there's really not much we could do for him. It's pretty rare, and there's no cure. So basically what I want you to do is sit here and comfort this guy while he dies, because dying is a pretty solemn thing. Basically, if the patient has a chance, we try to help, but that's about all. We can only fight poverty and ignorance, and cover up what we don't know. Basically, medical technology can only get us so far. But basically, because this guy's dying, he can't be alone. So, he basically does this big whole speech about how poverty and all this stuff. But what's interesting is this guy doesn't talk. He's not telling anyone what's wrong with him. He's just kind of dying. So he obviously has some kind of history, some kind of dark secrets that he won't share with anybody. So it's frustrating. Hello, Eraserhead. How are you? Glad you're here. He's like, look, this guy kind of wants to die. So, you're just going to kind of sit here. We tried to figure out what's wrong with him. He won't tell us what hurts or anything. So that's it. His heart probably hurts more than his body, he says. And then meanwhile, Redbeard gets called to another room because the girl's been hurt from a building site and it's not good. So he tells Yasumoto, hey, stay here with this guy. All right. Nothing so solemn as a man's last moments. So watch him die and watch him die closely. And then it's like big long scene of him just kind of staring in horror at this guy, like struggling to breathe. It's freaky. And he's basically like he's kind of having a panic attack. And luckily some nurse shows up. He's like, what's wrong with you? Nothing. He's like, all right, well, you're needed in room 3. I'll look after this guy. Relax. And he runs off and he's basically like traumatized about what he just saw, this old guy. And then he goes into this other room and dude, Redbeard is like sewing up some badly injured girl from a building site accident. And he's like, this is a lot for him to absorb. And it's like, she's been drugged, but she may struggle. I need you to hold her down while I suture her up. And you also need to watch, make sure I, don't mess up the sutures while she's like writhing and freaking out. But yeah, her intestines are coming out, shove them back in. And Yasumoto faints, and cut to later, he's like embarrassed and kind of feeling like he's not that great of a doctor, basically. And the other doctor's like, dude, I fainted too on my first operation. You'll get used to it. You won't even mind it. He's like, no, I can't even watch an old man die. I'm useless. He's calling it solemn and it's horrible. How's that old guy, Suzuki? He's like, oh, he died without saying a word. It's like, Jesus. You think his death was solemn? He's like, the pain and loneliness of death, frightens him. But Dr. Niedi, he looks at it differently. He looks into their hearts as well as their bodies, he says. For example, he saw some great misfortune behind his silence. That's probably why he said solemn. I want to be like him someday, he says. He's talking about Redbeard. He looks up to Redbeard, this other doctor. There's just too much to do today. First an operation, then Sahachi. We worked again after all my warnings and it got worse. He's in the North Room 3. Yeah, so that old guy, that sick guy who is working all night to make money to donate to his fellow patients, he got worse, and he may not recover this time. So that's not good. And he's basically going off, and he finds out that all the men are sitting here wondering, praying for Sahachi, saying they don't want him to die. And he's like, don't give up, Sahachi. And the nurse is like, oh, yeah, you're saying that so he'll work more for you? Is that it? He's like, no. Sahachi's a saint. That's why we pray for him. The world is full of no good people. So when someone like Sahachi dies, it's not fair. And he's like, all right, whatever. You old bastards should be in bed. All right, off with you. They're like, okay. And then this new doctor comes in and, he's like, look, being quiet is best for him. He shouldn't have too much excitement. You guys go. I'll watch him. And this is Sahashi saying, Dr. Mori, I'm sorry I didn't do as you said. I'm sorry I didn't listen to you. He's like, oh, wait, you're not Dr. Mori. You're the new doctor. I'm sorry. He's like, why don't you wear a uniform? And he's like, I don't want to. He's like, well, it helps people. They can see that you're wearing a uniform. They know you're a clinic doctor, poor people who can't see physicians. You can get help from them. So, doctor, it seems to be the end of my life. It seems like I'm dying. But if it is, I have a favor I'd like you to ask. He basically says, it cuts to him looking for Redbeard. Redbeard's in his room. And then they say Rokusuki, his daughter's here, the old man who died. Would you believe it? He just died. And, he seemed to have been all alone. And now, just after the nick of time, his family's here to look for him. And they just missed him, basically. And she's here with 3 children. I guess she was hoping that she could rely on him. She was looking for a handout from her old man. They're giving these 3 kids some rice balls. Meanwhile, Redbeard is seeing Rakasuki's daughter, and he says he wants to go home before he dies. And Redbeard gives him the news, like, hey, he passed away. She's like reminiscing on childhood. He said he was my father. He wanted me to go home with him. He was pale. He tried to smile. And he put a hand on my shoulder. He said, Akuni, let's go home. You're my precious only daughter. But I was only a child then. I was frightened and I pushed him away. So he's like an estranged father to her. And she was living with her mom. And she doesn't know. So she's kind of trying to make amends with her father. And it's too late. She's being told that he died, and mom's dead. And what does he say? He got married. She got married. He died too. So she's basically destitute and poverty stricken with 3 children. And he says, he came to see me in secret again. He seemed older. I hardly recognized him. His hair was all white. This is back before he got in the hospital. And he says, come with me and bring the 3 children. And she was rude to him and told him to leave us alone. And she's like, why didn't I go with him? Like, why didn't I go with him? I should have gone with him. I need help. And he tells him, well, he's dead now. And she asks, was he in pain when he died? And he's like, no, he lies and said, no, he died peacefully. And Yoshimoto hears that. He's like, whoa, but it's okay. She's super happy and relieved that he died peacefully. Even though he didn't, he died basically struggling to breathe. It was pretty horrifying. That actor did a good job of, really looking like he was uncomfortable on that bed. But yeah, he said if he had died and suffered, life would have been too cruel. And Yasumoto's just like, Jesus Christ. And then he remembers this guy's face as he's, dying. and the music's swelling all crazy too when this happens, and it's just haunting him. But yeah, he says he basically she has no money. So the husband was abusive and all this other stuff. He needs help. She needs help. So yeah, it's not good. How does this resolve itself? Redbeard is one of these guys. Basically, she says, I meant to take the children to father and then give myself up because she stabbed her husband. That's how he died. He was abusive. But she went to the inn where the father said to come if I needed him, and he wasn't there. I was told he was sick and came here long ago, so that's why he's here, and it's too late. What will I do? He says, don't worry, cutting someone up a little is not too serious, says Redbeard. He says, hey, it was an accident. He was drunk, and he had this knife. You stabbed him while trying to get it. It often happens, you know. Luckily, I know Magistrate Shimada, and I know some things about him. Blackmail, basically. I'll go with you. Go and confess. My children, what's going to happen to them? He's like, that's right. We'll ask Goheiji, who's one of the, he's in charge of the houses near here. He has a fine wife, too. So take the children and Sahachi there and the magistrate's office. After the magistrate's office, I'll come to. So go take Sahachi to this other house where he can go die and take these 3 kids there, too. And yeah, this other lady's going to confess to her crime of killing her husband. Meanwhile, they're transporting Sahachi. Everyone's like rooting for Sahachi, even though it's not looking good for him. Meanwhile, it's raining, pouring rain. The kids have run off into the rain. It's not good. They'll find him. So, yeah. This one kid, the Sahachi's got a fever. He's delirious. Yeah, and the whole hospital, a bunch of town people are all here. Like I said, rooting for Sahachi, and let's keep going. Let's skip along. You got some town drunk here talking some shit. Nothing too important. Rich men and educated ones don't know any of this shit. All right. Redbeard shows up, and yeah, they're kind of worried about Sahachi. He's carrying on though. They're like begging, please fix him, help him live if you can. He never thought of himself. He just thinks about others. So if anybody deserves any help, it's him. You know, he worked till he got sick, and then he worked while he was sick. It's not fair. So he's like, just go, leave him. He needs some rest. He's like, why don't you examine him, doctor? Is it that bad? He says, 2 fine men dying one after another. You know, old Rakusuki died today, and now it seems like he's the father of that woman I just brought. He left this tin Ryu. Use it for what they need. The kids. All right. And he's going to just take in these 3 kids out of nowhere. And a man dying at a public clinic wouldn't have so much money. So he scraped together some money to pay these people. It's a lot of like borrowing and scrimping by with Redbeard. A lot of funding getting cut, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, just kind of talking about all this stuff with the kids. Yeah, back to the movie. Yeah, Boosh is doing okay. Boosh, we hope you pull through, buddy. Yeah. From now on, if I'm arrogant, he tells Yasumoto, Redbeard, if I'm arrogant at any time, I want you to point it out and remind me. He's going back to the hospital, and you tend to Sahachi. Pouring a while ago. It started pouring a while ago, but now it's kind of stopping the rain. So yeah, he's going to sit here and watch. And then meanwhile, there's a landslide happening. And all of a sudden, a skeleton, they find a skeleton under the house that's been uncovered because of the landslide. And they're all freaking out. And this guy, Sahashi's like, that was my wife. I buried her right there. I killed her, basically. It's like, holy shit. So he starts to confess. He's like, I don't want to die. I want to tell my secrets I want to die without any secrets. So come listen, weary doctor, as I tell you this very sad story about Sahachi. So he talks about how he met his wife long ago, and her name was what was her name? Onaka. After returning the umbrella, I couldn't forget her. She gave him an umbrella one time. They met many times in the field of Iraya. Basically, she wanted to marry her, but she says no, I can't marry you. Why not? Because I'm not free to do as I like. She says, I have 7 brothers and sisters, and father's sick, and I've been bonded for 10 years with another man. 1 year maybe, but I can't leave. I must send money home. 1 year. I have obligations. He says, I'll send money to your family. Yeah, no, it's not going to happen. He wanted to marry her a lot. But he did succeed in persuading her, and she finally consented. But for some reason, she wouldn't introduce me to her parents. Your parents are going to be mine. Why don't you introduce me? She says, nope. And he couldn't make her do it. But we got married. It seemed like a dream. They were so happy. And then a great earthquake came. And when I returned home from the shop, the whole house was destroyed. And he assumed that his wife was dead. He felt a great relief, but she'd vanished from that day. He never found her body. They said they thought she died long ago. I moved here in the autumn of that year, and while I convinced myself that she died, after that I continued living here, and 2 peaceful years went by, and then one day he saw her in the shopping center with a baby. It's pretty rough. Onaka was alive, and she has a baby on her back, and it's kind of like a Manchester by the Sea moment. He's kind of freaked out and very heartbroken, and she can tell. And she's very sad, and she kind of walks away with shame, nursing another man's child right in front of his eyes. Yeah, it was pretty bad. He asked her if she was happy, and he basically says, we're not going to meet again, are we? And she kind of looks at him with shame and walks away. And several days after that, he drank and slept in a depression lull. And the way she looked back and bowed is an image that he couldn't get out of his head. And one day, while he was just laying in bed, she kind of walked into his house without saying anything. And basically said that his employer told her where he lived. And she basically came here to beg for forgiveness, saying that she was very sorry. Basically she explains that after the earthquake, she was already promised to that man. So she kind of, married that dude, married Sahachi kind of in secret. And she wasn't really allowed to. So she basically took an opportunity when the earthquake struck and the house was destroyed. She kind of, rather than leaving him and breaking his heart, she kind of saw an opportunity to leave when the house was destroyed, and she kind of ran away. Took that, and she hated it. She hated herself for doing this. She loved Sahachi, so it's very sad. But she said it's better that my husband thinks I died than I, left him for another man. But yeah, she's been just as sad over the last few days as Sahachi. And she tells Sahachi, I want you to hold me one last time. And he hugs her, and it turns out she's holding a knife at her belly. So Sahachi basically accidentally causes her to stab herself. She basically performs a seppuku, because Japanese people love performing seppuku. She kills herself with shame, and right in front of Sahachi, as if he wasn't traumatized enough already, So yeah, he's freaked out. He's brokenhearted, and he buries her under this house on the cliff, and he put a small workshop over it. And everything he's done for all of his neighbors was all in Onaka's memory. This is why he's been a good man, because of what his wife or his ex-wife was telling him. You got to be useful to others. But yes, my time has ended, and now I can confess and let everyone know. Onaka's come for me many times since yesterday. Onaka is calling me to the afterlife, so we're soon going to be together. Yeah. Onaka, he sees her, and yeah, he's going to die soon. And Yasumoto is very moved by it. And then the next scene, we see him coming out of his quarters wearing his hospital gown for the first time. He's ready to actually put in some work, and do the stuff. Put his roll up his sleeves, if you will. And everyone's excited to see him wearing his uniform. Everyone's like, hell yeah, and you look good. You look good, Yasumoto. If you want, you can learn a lot here. These are all the nurses. They're very, they're a fun group of ladies. But anyway, yeah, basically everyone's all smiles. And everyone's happy to see him. It's something. There's something that moved him with Sahachi's story. But yeah, he's basically saying Redbeard's on a real angry move today because some of the funding budget cuts, not good. He asked the governor to reconsider and left furious. So he's pretty on a bad mood. But yeah, meanwhile, Redbeard and Masai is here, and this is Yasumoto's ex-fiance's sister. Hey Dax, how you doing? My other pick, says Jamalama, was Riza and Julia Child, which I think would have worked. Okay. Daxadar's here. How's it going, Dax? We're talking about Akira Kurosawa's Redbeard. And at this rate, we might be wrapping it up. This might not be a 3-hour stream. It might be. I don't know. So anyway, she basically says, your ex has kind of had an infidelity. Basically, it's not good. So he's kind of moving on. He's kind of having a broken relationship that he's kind of coming out of, and the sister kind of had to tell him, yeah, it's officially over. Meanwhile, this woman shows up. She's got a sick baby. The doctor won't come because my husband still owes him for medicine. So he's like, that's okay. Just go over there to the ward. This baby basically has measles. It's not too far, but go to the clinic. This is kind of where he's kind of getting into the whole helping people thing. And then meanwhile, Redbeard goes to see this guy. He is some kind of a diplomat or something, and he's not doing good. He's one of the lords. He's a rich man. And Redbeard's like, yo, yeah, you are in a much worse condition than some of the sick people. It's all due to a life of luxury and ease is why you're sick. You indulge in rich food, and you hold nothing heavier than chopsticks. Fat gathers, intake and discharge lose their balance, he says. So Chamberlain, I need to see his menu for the last 3 days. What has he been eating? And he says, look, I told him no white rice is bad. No more white rice. And you're going to eat 1 bowl of 7 parts wheat and 3 parts of rice with every meal, and no fowl, meat, or eggs, and not too much fish or salt. And you're going to eat this shit for 100 days. And look at this guy. Look how fat and sad he is. He's like, I need to be paid now. And he only gets paid 30 ryo, which isn't a lot. But he uses that money to help his other patients. It doesn't even go in his pockets. Unbalanced discharge. That is right. You heard it right. The Asians are very astute in the ways of health and longevity. But yeah, I just love how stoic and serious Redbeard is. That's one of the things I love about Redbeard. He's very intimidating and scary, but you know that he's got a very compassionate heart. People are meant to live, recover, and those meant to die pass away, and doctors have nothing to do with it. And he's like, yeah, maybe. I don't know. Bad and good doctors are the same. Expensive medicines and those sold in pharmacies are the same. Of course, an eminent doctor like yourself is different, I am sure, says this old man. He's like, don't make me an exception. Basically, Redbeard does not like flattery. He doesn't like, being told. He's a humble man. They're going to go see, basically, Yasumoto's kind of venting to Redbeard that, his fiance has broken up their engagement. She found a new husband, I guess, while they were away from each other. It's not good. Yasumoto's not having a good time. Meanwhile, they're going to a brothel. Not for what you think, guys. They're here for work. He says, "Hey, I said this woman right here. She's supposed to be home. I told he tells the madam, this lady right here shouldn't be working." And he's like, "Well, she's the only one we have right now." He's like, "Yeah, but she doesn't entertain very often." He's like, "Yeah, but she has syphilis." Okay, she's not supposed to entertain at all. And he's like, "Well, you got to pay me then if she's not supposed to work. What am I supposed to do?" Basically, this madam is a pimp. She's not good. You can tell right away she's not a good person. So yeah, this woman and the woman with syphilis is like begging, "Please let me work. I got to keep working." It's like Jesus. Meanwhile, they're here to pick up a 12-year-old girl who's here in this brothel, and she's very sick. There's something wrong with her. Redbeard is like investigating, and yeah, she's basically locked away in her room. The madam calls her a brat, tells her she tore up a kimono. She won't be a whore, basically, even though she's 12 years old. And yeah, she's like drenched in shadow. She's got a high fever, and she's like obsessively cleaning the floors. She'd rather clean, she cleans the floors, I guess, because she doesn't want to be prostituted. So Redbeard's like, "Look, she's got a high fever, and she's acting crazy. So we're going to take her." And the brothel lady's like, "No, you're not taking her. She's my property," basically. And she calls a gang of dudes over. Now, this is actually pretty fun because this movie, even though it's a drama, it's a historical drama about doctors, the Japanese people still managed to have a kung fu scene in this movie. You got 5 or 6 guys basically threatening Redbeard. "Hey, you got to fuck off, buddy. This pimp lady told us that you're causing trouble. So you better get out of here or we're going to kick your ass." And Redbeard's like, "No, you should be careful. I'm a doctor. I know how to hurt people." And all right, let's take it outside. And Redbeard proceeds to beat the shit out of all 6 of these dudes. Like, he kicks the crap out of all of them, like like total kung fu master style. And what's great is, like, because he's a doctor, he's like knowing all the pressure points and breaking arms, and he like dislocates one guy's jaw. But as soon as he's done, he's like, "Oh God, what have I done? Like, this is awful." And immediately he starts like tending to them. He's like, "All right, fuck." He helps this one guy. He like sets this one guy's jaw. He's like investigating them. He says, "This is terrible. Violence is bad. And a doctor mustn't do such things," is what he says. He's sorry, basically. "Sorry I kicked y'all's ass. Little girl, you're coming with us." He takes the little girl, and the madam basically can't say shit about it. "Sorry. Fuck off." So they take the little girl, and he tells Yoshimoto, "Yeah, this this child's going to be your first patient. Her mind is worse than her body. It's what's going on with her is like mental above all. So yeah, you're going to look after her. This is your first patient. You got to cure her." And then we're at the intermission. So yeah, we are breezing through this movie quickly because I guess this is the 2-hour mark of the movie. So yeah. So the intermission, God, I miss intermissions. It's like a good 10-minute long intermission. So the last hour of the movie. Now we're in February. So we've missed Christmas time by now, but we're still in the dead of winter. And now Yasumoto is talking about Otoyo, who's the little girl. Basically, he's like taking her to her room, and he's trying to, get her to get better. But she doesn't want him touching her. She doesn't want any help. She doesn't want to drink any water. She doesn't want to get better. It seems she's kind of crazy. So yeah, I mean, he basically kind of warms up to her, gets her to kind of warm up to him a little bit. He just wants to see her tongue. She won't let him examine her at all. So, she just stares at him, and he doesn't know what to do, he says. And her eyes are suspicious, insolent, and very lonely. February 11th, when he woke up this morning, he was feeling sick. And he found out that the girl was not in the room, and she's cleaning the floors. It's like, young lady, you've got to stop doing that. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. Everything's taken care of. You don't need to work for any money. Just stay in bed, and we're going to give you medication. She starts having convulsions. She won't drink her medicine. So Redbeard's like, "All right, I'll get her to drink some medicine." And he does this great thing where he pours some medicine on the spoon, and he gives it to her, and she slaps it in his face. And he just smiles at her, and then he pours some more medicine in the spoon, and he gives it to her, and she slaps it in his face, like all over his nose. And what does he do? He smiles at her and laughs like he's getting a good kick out of the joke. And he pours some more medicine in the spoon, and she slaps it at him, and he laughs. And they keep doing it like 5 or 6 times. And eventually she finally just takes it, because he's just got nothing but smiles at her. And he's like, good girl, you did it. And that night she spoke for the first time. He tells her, yeah, you should eat this. Your fever's down. It'll make you strong. And he says, why haven't you slapped me? You keep slapping Redbeard. No, she says to Yasumoto, why haven't you slapped me? Like, why haven't you slapped me yet? And he's like, because I'm your doctor, And he tells her there are kind people in this world, like Redbeard. And you just haven't met any of them before. You've only met assholes your whole life. So, and she's like, you can't fool me. I know you're trying to trick me. Mother told me. She said I should watch out for people and not trust anyone. And she was right. And he's like, no. Dr. Redbeard's not like that. And he isn't. Isn't that why you took the medicine? And, Dr. Redbeard wants to help you. Your body and your mind, they've been hurt by cruelty, is what he tells her. And he's like, are you a nice person? He's like, yes, I also care about you. I want you to get better. Even now? Yep. And she's just a poor girl. He feels very sorry for her. You're a nice young girl, and, you shouldn't be this horrible off right now. And then Atoyo was gone once again this morning. And she wasn't in the clinic, and he had to go look for her. And he finds her begging on the street for money. And he's like, what the hell is she doing? And she gets a couple coins, and then she goes to a merchant, and she's going back to the hospital, and he runs into her, and he finds out that she bought a little vase that she broke. She's trying to replace it. And she accidentally breaks that one too. And she feels very sad. And he's like, dude, you don't need to buy this dish, and you don't need to go begging. You're upset because I didn't mean to scold you when you broke that dish, I apologize if you thought I scolded you. I was, nothing. There's no hard feelings here. And she just starts crying. It's very sad. And then meanwhile, because of this exhaustion of looking after the girl, Yasumoto is basically under the weather. He's kind of sick. He's getting sick. You've hardly slept since Sahachi died, is what he tells him. And here are your notes back, by the way, that you gave me a few months back. I've copied them, and these are for your patients. They're not for me. You may not like it, but try to understand. And he's like, look, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I was only thinking of myself, and I hated being here, and I didn't trust you. The father of the girl who betrayed me, I told you, Dr. Armano, he won my father over and put me in here trying to hush things up, basically. And I couldn't forgive him, so I kind of took it out on you. And he's basically saying I'm a selfish asshole. And he's like, look, Dr. Yasumoto, he's basically saying I can't fix these people. I can't cure anybody. Basically, I'm a failure. And he's too good for this clinic. Redbeard is too good for this clinic, and he's a despicable man, Yasumoto. He's conceited and insincere. And he says, Yasumoto, you're tired, and you have a fever, and you're going to go get some bed rest. And then what Redbeard does is he tells the little girl, all right, your assignment is to take care of Yasumoto. And knowing that this is actually going to make the little girl feel better as well. So it's actually pretty brilliant. And she reluctantly doesn't want to talk. She's still very shy and, skittish around him. But yeah, she is tending to him. She's putting snow in the water and drenching the towel in the ice water and putting it on him. And, she has like a little project. She has something to care about, And they're both feeling better together. It's very sweet. And he's like, look, I'm a good boy. I'm taking my medicine, and because he's taking his medicine, like she wants to take her medicine. And she is reading his medical journals and falls asleep. He wakes up, finds her asleep on his chest, and tells her, you don't need to apologize. You don't need to say you're sorry for falling asleep, but yeah, we're both feeling good. So we're both on the mend. So this little girl, she has been infected with the contagion of compassion now. She's starting to get it. First it spread to Yasumoto, and now it's spreading to the little girl. And she's going to go, take oh yeah, this is Masai. This is the sister again. And telling him that Yasumoto's mother's not doing well, and she wants him to visit. And basically, you haven't been home since you came here, and we miss you, and blah blah blah. And Redbeard, basically, Yasumoto doesn't want to go. He's kind of going to stay here and keep working. Father's away, but yeah, he's basically saying, "Oh, this is mother. Messiah's been good to me." Or is this the mother-in-law? I don't remember. But yeah, but basically because her sister broke off the engagement with him, they're thinking maybe he could hook up with the younger sister instead, if you agree to it. And yeah, he's like, yeah, things aren't that easy anymore because he's kind of liking it here at this hospital. And also she's a child, she's like a young bride, but whatever. He's kind of like realizing like that's kind of why Masai has been the messenger, because they're kind of trying to set them up together now, which is strange. But this is a different time. It was a different custom. But yeah, here's some robes for the little girl you're taking care of. And this is where that little girl, the 12-year-old girl, is angering the nurses because she is crazy. She's very obsessed with cleaning, and just she doesn't notice things. She's just like kind of introverted to herself and strange. But anyway, Otoyo's grown fond of Dr. Yasumoto. They basically say like, "Oh, she's got a crush on you." She loves Dr. Yasumoto, which is true. It's the first man to show her compassion. But yeah, everyone's kind of teasing Dr. Yasumoto. You got a little girl. But this is interesting. Toyo, what's her name? The little girl. She's doing some cleaning, and a little boy has got like a little pot on a string, and he's using it to steal rice gruel. And the girl sees him and acts like she doesn't notice. She totally looks right at him, and he catches her looking at him, and there's this awkward moment, and then she just goes right back to doing her polishing or whatever she's doing. And meanwhile, this other nurse walks in and catches him, and there's a whole thing where he drops the pot and spills porridge everywhere. She calls him a rat. "You little rat, stealing porridge!" And they start chasing the little boy, and he's over here hiding, and he runs off into the shed. And again, this girl, she acts like she looks right at him, like this little boy is like all skittish around the girl, but the girl doesn't care. She doesn't care that he's here stealing gruel. Like she doesn't, she lets him basically walk off with a pot of gruel. Meanwhile, the nurses are all chasing him, and they call him a rat, and they basically say, this girl's like totally helpless, pretending not to see and letting that little rat get away with it. Yeah, basically the little girl's doing better. She hated everyone before, but now she doesn't know what to do with this sudden love for Dr. Yasumoto. Yeah, her feelings are just kind of tumultuous. But they're all complaining that she let that thief go. But the new kindness in her may have made her pretend not to see. That's what's going on. Meanwhile, one of the nurses and Dr. Yasumoto are like, the little rat. The rat is back. The little rat boy. And he's so fast, we can't catch him. He's a little spry little fucker. And so I need you to help me catch him, doctor. And they're going through the laundry racks, and they see where the little kid's hiding, and they find out that the little girl has cornered him. And you got Dr. Yasumoto and the nurse. They're like eavesdropping on their conversation, and you find out that the little boy is very grateful for what you did. The little girl did for him by not ratting on him. And he's like, "Here, take these candies." And she's like, "I don't want them." He's like, I had a hard time stealing them. You have to take them. And she's like, "I hate thieves. Why did you let me steal gruel then?" He says, "Gruel and candy are different. You're stealing the gruel because you were awfully hungry." And he's like, "I'm always hungry. I'd become a beggar before I stole anything," says the girl. And the little boy's like, "Not me. Bowing to people. No real man does such things. I'd rather be a thief than a beggar." She's like, "How old are you?" He's like, "I'm 7. My name is Chobo." Chobo! She's like, "Are you alone, Chobo?" He's like, "No, I've got a father and a mother and 2 brothers too." "Do they know you steal?" And he's like, "They pretend they don't. They're terrible people." "Don't say that. They can't help it. It's like, but they're so poor. They're so poor that they've gotten stupid. He basically resents his parents for getting him for being poor. Him and his brothers, they all struggle. Um, he's like, are they older than you, your brothers? He's like, yeah, they're like 9 and 10, and they're so hungry that they are always sucking their thumbs. Basically, it's very sad. He says, I would love to be a horse one day because horses eat grass, and there's plenty of grass here. And he just says, here, take these candies. And he's like, all right, I will take, you take the candies and share them with your brothers, and if you come here at night, I will bring you leftover rice. So don't steal anymore if you can, because you won't need to steal. All right, deal? And it's like, all right, deal. And the little boy is like, thank you. And then the nurse is like crying with shame. Like she feels so sad for calling that little turd a rat. She realizes like, oh man, that kid's got it rough. So the next day they're all eating rice, and they kind of know what's going on. They don't tell the little girl. And one of the nurses is like, no, yeah, one bowl of rice is not enough for a growing girl. Here, take this whole bucket of rice. Like knowing that, she's going to give it to that boy too. And the other nurses are like, we want more rice. He's like, no, you fat cows have had enough. The rice is going to the girl. Okay. So it's very cute. Meanwhile, what else is this is the mantis woman, I think, or no, the nurse that was taking care of the mantis woman. No, this is the mantis woman. The mantis woman was having relations with the other doctor, that third little doctor. But they have had a romance that's been blossoming, and it's actually a good thing, even though there's like some kind of shame involved. It's like, yeah, but I mean, think about it. Like she's having romance with this doctor, and she hasn't killed him, So I'd call that progress. So yeah, you basically let her, spend her youth shut in. But yeah, your daughter's more and more sane now, basically. So that's why she wanted to die. Perhaps it was kinder to let her, but I'm a doctor, he says. So yeah, I guess basically her and that doctor are going to elope. So that's a happy ending for the mantis woman. And meanwhile, the fucking brothel lady is now back to collect her little 14-year-old, her little 12-year-old girl. And obviously the 12-year-old girl is like terrified of her, hiding behind Redbeard. And Dr. Redbeard's like, no, Dr. Yasumoto's like, no, I'm not giving you back to this girl. And she's like, yeah, you don't need to worry about them. You're going to basically, she's upset that you won't return her, saying that she'll get sick again. But they're like, you're the one who looks sick. You look like a tattered old ninny. Yeah, don't touch her. Your hand will rot. She's poisoned inside and out. She's just a toxic bitch. He's like, you're rotten to the core. Smell yourself. It's sickening. Basically, if she goes back with you, she'll get sick again. She's staying here. And your nose must have rotted off too. You can't even smell how bad you stink. It's awful. And yeah, the girl's like, look, I have a nice kimono now, and I'm not tearing it up. I like staying here. She's going to be a nurse or whatever. She's going to grow up to be one of these nurse helpers. And yeah, there's nothing you can do about it. And meanwhile, all the nurses show up and start like hitting her on the head with fucking, they basically like assault her. They're like, get the fuck out of here, this is our territory now, this girl's one of ours. It's very nice. Yeah. Hey, Whitebeard's here. Happy Christmas Eve indeed. So yeah. What else is happening? The little girl comes back to the laundry area. What is this area called? What do you call it? When the drying racks? I don't know. The place where you dry your clothes. Little boy is waiting there. Chobo. She's like, I got you some rice balls. Here you go. And she's like, you don't need to get me rice balls anymore. This is a few days later. He's like, we're going somewhere nice. Dad's basically taking us away. I was like, where are you going? We're going far away, but we don't need to worry about food, and it's fun there. You have a rich relative or something far away? And he's like, well, yeah, kind of. But where we're going, it's not too hot. It's not too cold. It's perfect. The full flowers bloom there. Like things are going to be all right. There's pretty birds. Mother and father said so. Is there a place like that? It's like, yeah, there is, to the west. By the way, you're very pretty today, she says. I bet the birds where we go will be pretty too. Goodbye. Chobo's like, I won't be seeing you again. So let me just look at you one more time because you're so pretty. All right, goodbye. And she runs away. Chobo runs off, hopefully to have a better life. And meanwhile, the doctors are in their doctor quarters eating. And Yasumoto says, I saw Dr. Amano yesterday after a long time. He asked me to stop by to talk to you about me. Yeah, Dr. Amano's worked hard for you. Dr. Amano is his fiance's father, ex-fiance's father. But yeah, he says, hey, you're going to be the Shogun doctor in March, like was planned. He's like, no, but no. He's like, he also asked if you'd marry his younger daughter. Yeah, so he's conceded. Like, you're going to marry Masai, since the other girl kind of stood him up. And yeah, you're going to go see the Shogun. You're going to be transferred soon in March. It's February right now. And he's like, damn, bummer. He's like, he's kind of, now he's bummed out that he's leaving, you know? And he's like, dude, like not so long ago, you were raving about how you weren't going to stay here and you hated it here. And it's just kind of crazy. But now it's like, you're just like Dr. Redbeard. You talk like him now. And, what about your new fiance? Don't you like her? He's like, well, I don't dislike her. He's like, say what you mean. He's like, well, my mind's made up. I'm going to propose in due time. Basically this guy's going to be proposing to the Mantis woman. He's basically feeling all right now because he's got a hot girlfriend. They're going to be getting married soon. And then something terrible. Doctor, hurry. Some nurses walked in and he says, a whole family's been brought in. They drank poison. And it's that little boy's family, Chobo. And here's the little girl seeing two tiny bodies being brought out of the hospital ward. And the doctor's like, that's not Chobo. Don't worry. Chobo's in there. And the nurses are like, doctor, please save that little rat boy. He threw up the poison. He'll live if he lasts till morning, they say. So if he doesn't die tonight, he might make it. And then Dr. Redbeard also wants to see him. And yeah, this nurse right here says, that's so sad. We were calling him a little rat, and he ended up eating rat poison with his family. They were so poor, they all just decided to like Heaven's Gate themselves out of existence. It's very sad. So now they're going to go see little Chobo. Guys, this is rough, okay? Little Chobo, he's not doing too good. Chobo, he's sick, and he gets a little smile when he sees a Toyo. But he says, I'm sorry. I stole again, and I got caught, and I should have become a beggar like you said, and I'm sorry. But I've got to talk. I've got to tell you that this is all my fault. They said it was the end to have a thief in our home. They're basically, Japanese people love killing themselves when they're shamed. I don't know why. The family is like, well, our son is a thief, and we're so poor that our youngest son is a thief. So I mean, we're failures. So we're all gonna eat rat poison. So we all decided to die together, the whole family, like group vote, So I'm sorry I lied about going to a nice place. So get some water for the little boy. Please let the boy die, says the mother. It's best for him. He's like, why did you save us? Says the mom. We thought it was over and decided it was best. And we talked it over with our boys. They said it was best too. So we all drank the medicine, aka the rat poison. Why didn't everyone just leave us alone? Look at the dad. He thinks he's dead already. This is why he's so he's never sleeps so peacefully. He's sleeping peacefully because he thinks he's dead. Like, you fucked up our suicide plans, dude. But yeah, little Chobo starts breathing all heavy, doing the death rattle. And Otoyo's like, oh no, is this it? Is this where he's going to die? We got to do something. And then all of a sudden they start hearing wailing. They start hearing a bunch of nurses saying, Chobo, Chobo. And they say, oh yeah, the cooks are calling Chobo back. There's a belief that if you call into a well, you can call a dying person back into their body. So they're all like in the well screaming Chobo's name. Wells lead to the bottom of the earth. And the little girl runs out there and starts screaming, Chobo, Chobo. And then all the nurses, it's almost dawn. So if we keep him alive till dawn, he won't die. So they all the ladies are screaming Chobo into the well. And Dr. Yoshimoto sees this, and he's very moved. He's very moved. And Redbeard comes out, gives him the good news. All the poison's out of Chobo. He vomited again, and he might pull through. He's probably going to pull through, so it's okay. And then we end on the shot of the well. And then now we're getting to the private ceremony. We're going to have a private marriage in March. And we're going to meet. We're going to have this like not a ceremony, but it's like the engagement is going to happen right here. Messiah's coming, and they got the Messiah's parents. And yeah, they're going to bring the nuptial cups, the nuptial cups, I guess. They have a toast, I think is what it is the tradition. But the groom is not supposed to talk. And he's like, look, I've got to tell her something. Thanks to your father, I'm to become the Shogun's doctor in March. But I once hoped to be promoted to be head doctor, but not now. I will remain at this clinic, he says. It means no honor and no money. We will be poor. And if you don't mind, just think about it. If you're okay with being a poor doctor's wife, then we can get married. But if not, now's your chance to opt out. And she says she bows her head in agreements. Like she's like, yeah, I'm down if you're down. And all right, there you go. We're going to have the cups, the toast, and it's all engaged. And yeah, let's see here. They're going to have some grandchildren, I think, because his ex-fiance has had had a baby with her new husband. And this is the final scene where, Redbeard's like, yo, do you want me to shout at you? He's like, please do. I'll stay no matter what. And he's like, who says so? You did. You taught me the road to take, so I will take it. And he's like, you overestimate me. He's very reluctant. He says, look, you should be the Shogun's doctor. But if you insist, stubbornly, he calls him a fool and says, all right, you're young, so you talk like that. You'll regret staying here. But he's like, all right, but you give me permission to stay here? And he's like, yes, but I repeat, you're going to regret it. And he's like, yay! I'll have to find that out for myself, Thank you for letting me stay here. And that's the end of the movie. And dude, we summed it up in, like I said, half the time of the movie. Now, like I said, we missed a little bit of the nuance. We missed a lot of the great camera work and the acting and the score. But God damn it, it's a great, great, great movie. Makes you feel better about it. Makes you want to, help other people. It makes you want to be a better man, like I said. Let's go ahead and let me change this layout, actually, back to normal with this big screen here. Like this. There we go. Yeah, like that. Bam. Save. Update layout. Okay, great. Now we're going to get rid of that. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I love this movie, Redbeard. Niat just went live. Okay, well, I guess we'll wrap it up then. I just kind of wanted to briefly summarize this movie, and I hope you guys thought, hey, this is a cute story. But yeah, let's go ahead and look back at what you guys have been talking about while I've been here. I haven't really been paying attention to the chat. Yeah, Nadia, right. Boosh, you should be resting, bro. No, he's been MIA for long enough. He can hang out for one stream. Dax has been in here talking about them sus eyes with that one girl. He clearly has a black beard. Exactly. 1 out of 10. To be fair, he's got a beard similar to mine. Let's see here. If I put my camera on, and solo layout, you can't tell, but if you look at my beard in sunlight, there's like a lot of like red going on there. It's weird. So I assume he's got, and also like Redbeard, Redbeard does this thing where he keeps stroking his beard like this. So his beard kind of grows at an angle. Mine kind of does that because I do the Redbeard thing a lot. And it's funny because I saw Redbeard for the first time. My sax player showed it to me. And this is something I already did. I would do this a lot. And I noticed Redbeard, when he's contemplating things, when he's thinking heavily, he does the same motion. And that was another reason why I really liked this movie. I was like, oh, whoa, he's got a reddish tint in his beard too. And he also strokes it the same way I do. Phrasing. Let's see. Let's go back to tiny layout off camera. Let's see. Jamalama, I was totally wondering where the fuck you were at the time 8 days ago now, says Jamalama, talking about Boosh. Yeah, Boosh has been laying low. Listening to Enzo isn't resting, says Nadia. This was a chill stream, Nadia. Okay. Yeah, Enzo is very relaxing when I want to be. Yeah, this isn't the Supergirl stream. Well, the Supergirl stream was high octane entertainment. We were all rock hard for 7 hours. Yeah, laughing and smiling is good for you, says Jamma. Yeah. Boosh says, I just had a new IV put in. She'll be back in an hour to swap out meds. This is rest. Yes, and all Asian people kind of look the same. But they think all white people look the same. So me and Boosh look the same, you know? So yeah. Asians be Asianing, says Dex. Whitebeard is here and he says, I'm a doctor, not an antelope. Boosh says he's a polar bear. Mango straight. Adam Gray popped in. Yeah, Barbara popped in. They're all walking down the street. When you're a jet all the way. Yeah. Yeah, the Heaven's Gate suicide attempts. Yep. Bursch McMuffin. Dude, I barfed so much on the 15th. Yeah. Boosh basically says on the holidays, like his family gets together and eats so much, they all get deathly ill. That's pretty crazy. I mean, that's pretty baller, honestly. It's like a gout. Gout is the rich man's disease. Yeah, like Jamalama Niet just went live, I assume, to, I don't know, watch a movie or something, talk about a movie. Boosh says they gave me morphine when I first came in. Then they gave me fentanyl. I completely understand why people get hooked. Holy F. Yeah, man. Let's all start doing fentanyl together. Let's become fentanyl addicts. How does that seem? Dominic is here, my uncle. I need to watch it. Dickie and found your narration to be great. Oh, Dickie and Angie found your yeah, thanks. I mean, I'm kind of winging it here. Boosh says, what does she mean by rest? Stare at the wall and drift into insanity? Yeah, I know. As long as you got your phone, right? Barbara says, they gave me that when I had my appendectomy. Get your appendix removed last year. The nurse was like, now we're going to give you some pain meds, and I don't want you to freak out when I tell you what it is. Yeah. Fentanyl. I mean, fentanyl given to you by a trained physician, it's good. My mom, when she had knee surgery, she's got a morphine allergy. So, you know, they're like, all right, well, we'll just give you some fentanyl instead. It's like, whoa, okay. Yeah. Nadia is 100% that mom who says too sick for school, but not for video games. One of those most stressful versus one of the most relaxing things a kid does. Yeah, I get it. Yep. Jamalama's heading over to Nietz. You guys should be been there. No thanks, says Jamma. All right, guys. Well, yeah, I mean, that was my quick little Redbeard discussion. Tomorrow, there is no Nielsen ratings on Lance's channel. So I think I'm going to do something around 3 or 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. I think we're going to just do a Christmas commercial watch along, just have some fun. White Bear says, bless you, Enzo and chat. I would and could in a tree. Have a great Christmas Eve. You too, buddy. White Bear, let's watch another movie soon. And Boosh, we're going to watch a movie when you get better. Nadia, I want to watch a movie with you, damn it. I think me and Vex and Megan might watch a movie. I want to watch a movie with a bunch of chicks. I think that'd be fun. So whenever you're available, Nadia, just let us know. We'll just pop in the Discord and watch something. But yeah, you guys, like I said, tomorrow we'll be doing an afternoon Christmas Eve stream. And then I'm going to go see Nosferatu at 10 o'clock tomorrow night. And then Christmas will be upon us by the time I get out of the movie. And after I get out of the movie, I think Thursday, Christmas will be a chill day. I don't think I'm going to be streaming or anything. I'll probably just watch A Christmas Story with Mom, a Die Hard maybe, or two. We'll watch some stuff, eat some ham, and then Thursday, the day after Christmas, I'm going to be on Nadia's channel to talk about Nosferatu and vampire movies in general. I don't know if we're going to be doing a spoiler discussion of Nosferatu. I'm down either way. I'm excited about this movie, guys. I'm pumped. I hope I didn't hype myself up too much to where I'm disappointed by it, but we'll talk about all that on Thursday. And yeah, Wednesday, what's going on Wednesday for Christmas? You guys got a special, treat Wednesday. Me and Sammy and Dudicus and even problematic white guy John, he popped in towards the end. We watched Bram Stoker's Dracula, and I could have done the full length commentary I think it was saved for YouTube, but I decided to trim it down to an hour. Just because you just trim it down. So it's an hour long, abridged version of Bram Stoker's Dracula. It's not going to be heavy on the overlay. It's going to be a light overlay, so you guys can enjoy it. That'll be Wednesday, 2:30 usual time. So check that out. That's a fun one. That was a funny one. We had a lot of fun watching Bram Stoker's Dracula. And then since I didn't do any Christmas movies, next week for New Year's Day, or is it New Year's Eve? New Year's Day, January 1st. The first movie of the year will be a Christmas film starring Hulk Hogan called Santa with Muscles. And it was the worst Christmas movie I've ever seen. So expect a full-length commentary track for that one. That'll be fun. Dominic says, love you and proud of you. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Dominic. I love you too, buddy. Merry Christmas. We'll see you soon. Maybe we'll go to karaoke Thursday if this Nosferatu stream ends early. But Nyat is playing a game. Moxie is on. Okay. So nothing crazy. All right, Adam. Great for having you. Thanks to everybody else for being in the chat. I hope you guys watch Redbeard. Maybe don't watch it right now since I kind of just like went over the whole plot, like, beat by beat, but maybe like a few months from now, or maybe next Christmas, I'll remind you guys to watch that movie. And I hope just like me telling you the story, like kind of made you understand why I think it's a great Christmas movie. It's a movie about helping others and compassion and taking care of your fellow man. That being said, yeah, take care, says Barbara. Everyone, Merry Christmas. And yeah, Boosh, get better, buddy, so we can watch a movie soon. It goes for everyone else in the chat. You guys ever want to watch a movie with me, just hit me up. We'll make some plans. We'll get up in the Discord, and we'll have a good time like usual. And this year, January 2025, we're going to have it's going to be a great year, guys. 25 is my lucky number. So we're going to have fun. And you guys take care, and we'll see you all tomorrow around 3 or 4 o'clock, same place. We're going to have a goofball Christmas stream. We're going to watch a bunch of weird Christmas commercials and just bask in nostalgia and have some hot cocoa and just hang out. So I hope you guys have a great day and a great night, and we'll see you all real soon. All right.